Hello, my name is Betsy Okello, the Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Staff Development. The purpose of this video is to provide training for the new developmental summary for kindergarten teachers. We recognize that any change that we make in assessment practices can be scary, and so we very much appreciate your patience as we put these resources together, and we want to assure you that we are all going to work together to make this new transition as successful as possible. As you watch the video, it would be helpful to have a copy of the developmental summary in front of you. This video will be used at your upcoming trainings and can be an ongoing resource for you throughout the year as you continue to grow in your knowledge and use of the developmental summaries. Over the course of the video, we will explain the standards-based developmental summary and use of personal, social, and physical development codes, planning documents and resources that help inform when to teach and assess each standard, specific examples of student work and how they correspond to the developmental summary. A standards-based developmental summary provides detailed information on how a child is progressing towards mastery of year-end standards. The Archdiocese of New York has adopted the New York State Standards, which inform instruction and assessment. Learners are scored on their progress made toward mastery of those expectations set forth for each marking period. A standards-based developmental summary uses progress codes broken out into 1, 2, 3, and 4. Progress codes are more specific information indicating a student's progress on the grade level standards for each quarter. Evidence may include teacher observations, samples of student work, and various in-class activities. A 1, below standards, means a student demonstrates minimal understanding and seldom meets requirements for grade level work. Requires an extended amount of time, instruction, and assistance and/or practice. 2, approaching standards, means the student demonstrates partial understanding and is beginning to meet requirements for grade level work. Requires some extra time, instruction, assistance, and/or practice. 3, meeting standards, means the student demonstrates and applies knowledge and understanding of learned concepts and skills, meets requirements for grade level work, and completes work independently with limited errors. 4, exceeding standards, means the student exceeds requirements for grade level work and consistently applies and extends learned concepts and skills independently. In general, teachers should only use a 1 to communicate that a child is significantly behind where he or she should be at this level. This should indicate a serious concern to a parent. Most children should receive 2s and 3s. 4 should be reserved for children who are performing well above grade level expectations. A helpful analogy to understand these progress codes would be to think about how a child learns to ride a bike. For example, students learning to ride a bike might earn the following progress codes. A 1 would signify below standards. The child would be standing next to the bike, looking at it. A 2 would signify approaching standards. The child can ride and pedal the bike with training wheels or other assistance, but cannot ride independently yet. A 3 would signify meeting standards. The child can ride the bike on their own with no assistance. A 4 would signify exceeding standards. The child has progressed to doing independent tricks on the bike, above and beyond normal expectations for bike riding. Let's take a closer look at the developmental summary in more detail. For kindergarten, students will receive progress codes in the standards that are directly taught and assessed in their respective quarters. Though this means that students won't get an holistic grade in core subjects like ELA, math, science, and social studies, they will nevertheless receive overall grades 1 through 4 in religion, PE, music, art, and foreign language when applicable. This is consistent with the experience of students in the pre-kindergarten years who also only receive progress codes by standards. Religion is the only core subject in which students will receive a holistic grade in each quarter. Here, a 1, 2, 3, or 4 will appear based on the student's progress in religion over the course of the quarter. On the front page of the developmental summary, on the right-hand side, students will receive both overall holistic grades for personal and social development and physical development. Remember that the goal is to meet standards or achieve 3s by the end of the year, so it's okay and probably normal for students to receive 2s. Ones should only be reserved for student behavior that is a serious concern. The core subjects appear on the second page. Remember that holistic grades will not appear for ELA, science, social studies, and math, just progress codes of 1, 2, 3, or 4 on each standard domain that is specifically taught and assessed in each quarter. At the end of the year, however, students will receive an holistic progress code of 1, 2, 3, or 4 in each core subject to give an indication of that student's overall progress in that subject to prepare them for more frequent grades in first grade. It is important to note that the language on the developmental summary represents the standard domains, not the individual standards. On the Build Bold Futures website, you will find a resource guide for both ELA and math that shows the developmental summary skill, which standards that skill encompasses, where those skills are taught and assessed, and a recommended quarter for teaching and assessing. This is intended as a guide, and the teacher has the ultimate autonomy to decide when they are going to teach and assess each standard throughout the year. The most important thing is that all standards are taught throughout the course of the year. Now we will go into how to determine a standards-based grade. Here we have a sample ELA assessment for kindergarten. As you can see, this assessment addresses standard RLK1, or with prompting and support, ask and answer questions about key details in a text. The purpose of this assessment is for the teacher to determine whether or not the students can answer questions about the nursery rhymes and fables that they have heard over the course of the unit. The teacher asks, for example, in the story of Little Miss Muffet, what frightens Miss Muffet? The students would then circle the spider, hopefully, which is the correct answer. They would then answer 9 other questions using the same technique. At the conclusion of this assessment, the teacher would then evaluate the student's performance on this task. Because this assessment directly addresses just one standard, RL.K.1, the teacher can determine a progress code signifying the student's progress toward mastery of this standard. In this example, the student answered 9 out of 10 questions correct. So in this case, the student would earn a 3 and demonstrates an understanding of key ideas and details. To input this assignment, I would log on to Educate and find the right class and subject. I then input the necessary information, such as the name, description, start and end date, and the marking period. Because of the focus on progress codes in each standard, we are not concerned with awarding points for specific assignments, so selecting score-based is not necessary. The more important step is to check standards-based and then select the correct standard. The standard I'm assessing with this assignment, RL.K.1, corresponds to this standard domain, demonstrates an understanding of key ideas and details, so I'll check this box. Next, I select Summative. Summative tells the computer to calculate this assignment, so I always want to select Summative when entering progress codes. After saving the assignment, I can then give each student a progress code of 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on their mastery of the standard. One more example, this time with math. In this assessment, given in the middle of Module 1, students focus on attributes of 2 related objects. There are picture cards that have been cut out, and then the teacher identifies what the pictures are when she places them in front of the students. She then asks them to identify pictures that are exactly the same. This corresponds with standard K.MD.3, classify objects into given categories, count the number of objects in each category, and sort the categories by count. Here are the cards displaying the bears. The teacher asks, how are they exactly the same? Show me something that's the same but a little different. Then the teacher says, use your words. They are the same, but. On a chart, The teacher will record what the students do and what the students say. Here are a teacher's sample observational notes. The teacher takes notes on what students do and say, providing herself with helpful evidence that she can use to determine a progress code. Now let's take a look at the rubric. Please note that this assignment includes a rubric on a 1 through 4 scale. This represents points, not our progress codes. For example, even if a student scores 4 points on this task, they would still only earn a progress code of 3 for a standard, since this is grade level work. Whether a rubric is out of 4 points or 400, it doesn't really matter, as it pertains to a student's progress towards mastery of a standard. Once again, I would log into Educate and find the right class and subject area. Then input the name, description, start and end dates, and the marking period. The standard I'm assessing on this assignment, K.MD.3, corresponds to the standard domain K.M.MD.2, classifies objects and counts the number of objects in each category. So I'll check those boxes and input the grades accordingly. For teachers who are more accustomed to a portfolio or sampling of student work, this is a permissible alternative to inputting grades in the TADS Educate system. If teachers choose to adopt this system, they are just as responsible for maintaining and gathering evidence of student progress as they would be if they used the TADS Educate system. In this system, we still encourage plainly stating the standard on each piece of work for your own clarity on which standard it corresponds with. It is important to be consistently reviewing this portfolio in order to determine when remediation is necessary. At the end of the quarter, the teacher will review the student work and assign the 1 through 4 progress code for each standard that has been taught in the TADS Educate system. Any standard that has not been formally taught and assessed should be left blank in any given quarter. We hope this video has been helpful in answering your questions regarding the Kindergarten Developmental Summary. For questions about any of the information contained in the video, we're happy to help. For all academic questions, please contact the Office of Early Childhood at earlychildhood.education@archny.org or by calling 888-227-8175. For technical questions regarding TADS Educate, please contact Onika Jordan at onika.jordan@archny.org. You will receive a response within 24 hours. Thank you and God bless.